This year, SCHLOCKTOBER happens to coincide with the arrival of a new season of The Walking Dead. The cultural phenomenon wherein a comic that was really okay became an AMC TV series that is also really okay. The series has been lauded by some for its richly developed characters and admirable sense of scope given the limitations of a television budget, but criticized by others for supposedly skimping on zombie action. That's the funny thing about zombies as monsters, though. They work as a threat you can put in the background while focusing on human drama, because once you've seen them, you've kind of seen them. Also, they just aren't the scariest monster by design. They just aren't, I'm sorry. The idea behind a zombie is creepy, and they're often gross looking, but they don't have the immediate credible threat thing happening like a werewolf or the alien or whatever. I mean, unless there's a lot of them, or if you goose them up with enough extra bits or implausible speed that they aren't really zombies anymore, but that's a whole other show. That might be why one of the places they've turned out to work best is in horror comedies. They're kind of silly in their fundamental conception to begin with, and they're an easy shorthand for grotesque parody of humanity just by standing around. Of course, today everyone's go-to zombie comedy is Shaun of the Dead, or maybe Fido if we're being too cool for school, but way before any of our recent zomcoms, the Asian cinema market was digging a 1998 gore and gags underground hit from director Wilson Yip called Bio-Zombie. Boiled down to its base elements, Bio-Zombie is a Hong Kong riff on George Romero's Dawn of the Dead, inasmuch as it features a zombie outbreak in an indoor shopping mall, but premise is where similarities end, as Yip's film is more interested in slapstick comedy, observational youth culture satire, and whiplash-inducing shifts from those lighter elements to genuine zombie horror. Zombie and zombie-esque movies have often been a place for young auteurs to prove their mettle, like Sam Raimi or Peter Jackson, and Yip followed suit. Bio-Zombie was his first significant hit, and 1 year later he directed Bullets Over Summer, which launched a dramatic career, that now includes several high-profile collaborations with Donnie Yen. Amusingly, Bio-Zombie also functions as a time capsule of Hong Kong youth culture just after the '97 handover. For example, apparently the Game Boy camera was a bigger deal there than in the West. Our heroes are a pair of juvenile delinquents named Woody Invincible and Crazy Bee, which I'm told is supposed to be a joke about the literal Chinese names for the leads in the Toy Story movies, but I don't speak enough Mandarin to confirm that. In any case, Woody and Crazy think of themselves as badass criminal operators, but really they're just morons whose big game is running a bootleg VCD shop, ask your parents. In their downtime, they annoy women at the mall and carry out random errands for their shady boss. One such errand, and their utter incompetence in carrying it out, lands them in possession of a body infected with a zombifying chemical agent, which they bring back to the mall, and you know the rest. What's interesting about Bio-Zombie is, despite how wild it eventually goes with its undead slaughterfest, how oddly restrained it is beforehand. This was likely more a function of budget than pure dramatic inspiration. A non-stop gorefest in the vein of Planet Terror would almost certainly be outside the economic realities of low-budget, late 90s Hong Kong filmmaking, after all. But whatever the cause, the film takes its time getting to the showpiece stuff. Almost the first full half of the movie is just a day-in-the-life comedy about Hong Kong youth. And as a result, we actually get to know our otherwise stock zombie movie protagonists, including Woody, Crazy, two girls named Jelly and Rolls, a dweeby food court sushi clerk, and a bickering husband and wife combo, before all the fighting starts. That's not to say there isn't still room for some outright weirdness, like the clerk going zombie himself but remaining just sentient enough to bribe his fellows with people sashimi to give the heroes room to escape. It's also interesting, at least to me, to see the familiar zombie scenario play out in a non-Western and indeed non-American setting. Most zombie flicks aping the American model tend to devolve into gunfight generators, because the American mindset can turn pretty much any crisis scenario into a gunfight generator. But in Bio-Zombie, it's mostly about finding a way to escape the encroaching horde with whatever hand-to-hand weaponry they can grab, which makes for a different kind of battle and allows for this fun, then topical House of the Dead reference. I don't don't know if Biozombie is going to change any zombie fan's life, honestly. In fact, I can damn near guarantee you that it felt more interesting and vital back in '98 when zombies weren't the most overexposed thing in the history of ever. But it's a fun romp, and since we demonstrably can't get enough of zombies, here's one more movie to add to your collection. I'm Bob, and that's The Big Picture.